Hello, my name is Crystal, and in this presentation I am going to go over my newest strategy that I've been very excited to share with you guys. This is used for Nadex spreads. Particularly, I suggest looking for low-risk spreads on the Nadex platform, and it's used for indices. It's called the Pivoter Rivetor. Okay? Now, going to right-click, go to Studies, and Edit Studies. This is on the thinkorswim platform, not MetaTrader 4. Okay. I use a few different indicators here. I use the Hall Moving Average set to 80. I use CAM pivot points, and those CAM pivot points, these are these green and red points. Okay. I use the DEMA, which is essentially a simple moving average, set to 200, okay, which is that yellow line there. And I use the MACD, set to its traditional settings of 12, 26, and 9. I use the exponential one. Feel free to play around with it and see what works best for you. Okay. That's what I like to use. The CAM pivot points, that's a custom indicator, and that's provided on the strategy page for you. Okay. So, what I usually do with any setup that I create on thinkorswim, I like to do right-click, Style, Save Style, include patterns and study set, and then put in a name for it. So in this case, it's the Pivoter Rivetor. So then I don't need to add any of that anymore. Okay, it's just going to come up on any chart that I do a right-click, Style, Load Style, and then Pivoter Rivetor. Okay, I use this on the 5-minute chart. Now what I do, right now we have Wall Street open, and what I like to do is around 9 a.m. or so, okay, I like to take a look at the indices, and I like to enter low-risk spreads when something sets up very nicely for me, okay. Now what I like to base it on is the MACD showing the same direction as the Hall Moving Average. Okay, now there's a couple things to think about here. Okay, one, when you're looking for a spread on Nadex, I suggest only low-risk spreads, unless if you're comfortable with getting in and out of them very quickly. Okay, if you are comfortable with that and you stick to those rules, then go ahead and grab higher risk spreads, but make sure you stick to your rules. Okay. What I base mine on are, if I see a setup, in this scenario, price kind of came down, Hall Moving Average is showing a buy, price came down a little bit and it hit that 200 simple moving average, the yellow line there, and as you can see that candle, it's showing, I kind of want to push up. Okay, it looks a little bit like a pin bar. It's not a traditional pin bar, but it's definitely has that, I don't know, it's similar to one, okay? Alright, so here is where, well, right around here is where I would have been looking. Around 9 o'clock, I just would have been looking at spread prices and see, what's available on the buy side, okay? And when price came down like that, that's where I would have entered a low-risk spread. Now, looking at these pivot points, what I can expect is that if price breaks this top pivot point, okay, it's going to continue up a little ways. All right, and that's exactly what happened. It broke on this candle, which safest entry, yeah, you can wait for it to break, then enter a low risk spread. You won't gain as much, but you'd rather be safe than sorry, okay? It came up here. Right around here is probably where I would have exited, okay? It did continue up higher, but you see that kind of pin bar down? And then price kind of fluctuating. It, yes, could continue up, but it could also go back down and eat away the profit that I just made. So, take your profits consistently. Okay, when it rose again, and we saw another pin bar kind of headed down, and then we saw the MACD kind of leveling out a little bit there. Hasn't crossed to the downside yet, but I would have been looking at low risk spreads for a sell. Okay. And another reason I'd be looking for that in this specific trade is because price is now outside of these pivot points. And many times, if that happens earlier in the day on these indices, from what I've personally found is that price will come back and re-enter those. Okay? It'll either re-enter into this kind of main area here, or it will at least re-enter into here, which is exactly what it did. Okay? So now let's go ahead and check out some more. Alright, we're going into Monday. Alright, 8:30, 9 o'clock. MACD is showing a sell. Price is below the 200 and the Hall moving average. Okay, we are within the pivot points here. What I can expect is that price will come down to this previous low or right to this pivot point. Okay, if it continues in its downtrend, then I can expect that it may come to all the way down to this level. Okay, so if that's worth it to you, and there's a low risk spread for a sell, take a look and see around 9, and then, boom. Okay, see if it goes that far. Okay, it's fluctuating, comes down, back up, up. It's kind of fluctuating right here. And you see why? Look at that. That's the previous, there's a previous support level right there. Okay, so that's why it's fluctuating within there. If you would have found a good price, you may want to, during this area, just take your profits or break even, or just let it ride and see what happens. But then look, it comes up here. Alright, it hit this resistance level. Okay, see if you look back, that's kind of where price was hitting. So it's up to you. You can take a loss at this point if you entered a sell and you didn't take profit at either one of these two levels. MACD's showing up. Okay. We've got kind of mixed signals going on here with the Hall moving average and the moving average, and then it continues up. So I personally would have just exited that trade. I probably would have exited it here anyways for a small profit, simply because it hit it and then it hit it again, that same exact level, and then we saw the MACD kind of wanting to push up. Okay, it doesn't mean it won't turn around, but let's see. See, now it's fluctuating right in here. Alright, we're in around 12 o'clock at this point. It's coming back down. If you didn't exit, it might give you another opportunity to get out, or it may not. 1 o'clock. Oh, then it finally picked its trend direction. Okay, so if you stayed in it, I would have been out at this point. If you stayed in it, then it broke right down, went into the main pivot levels. Okay, and you'd be out of the trade somewhere right in here if you stayed in. Alright, let's move on to the next one. 8:30, 9 o'clock. Oh, this one I already checked out. Alright, so yeah, this was showing a buy simply because it hit a previous or pretty heavy low here. We haven't hit the low in a little bit. Okay, MACD is showing up. We're outside of those pivots. We're below those pivots. Okay, so you can expect that price will at least come back up to those pivots, if not re-enter and possibly even go to that level. Boom, went in, hit that level, hit that level. MACD is starting to level out. You can take your profit there, or you can see if you should let it continue to run. Oh, look at that. It retraced back down, hit all the way to this level. Okay, and that was around 12 o'clock. 12, well, no, excuse me, 12:30. Okay. Well, look at that. It continued all the way up the rest of the day. See? So that's beautiful. If you would have stayed in it, great. I probably would have exited right around there. You could have gained a lot more out of it throughout the day. The spread that you're going to be picking on Nadex is going to be the daily spread, the 415 expiration. Okay. Oops. A little too far. 435. 637. 8:30 and 9 o'clock rolls around. Mixed signals. Mixed signal. Mixed signal. Price is above the 200, but it's below the hull. We're toward the top of the pivots. We're not outside of them. We're not at the very top. My personal thought is that price would head down, probably down to this level, previous support level, but I would not enter the trade yet. Boom, broke below. There you go. I think I would enter it at that point. Okay, let's see if it goes. Kind of create new higher highs there. Yeah, price is just kind of fluctuating. We're already at 130. I would have just been out of the trade at that point probably. And just broke even. It gave you multiple opportunities. It gave you an opportunity to take profit, and then it gave you multiple opportunities to break even. There wasn't much movement that day. It just kind of chilled within those levels. Okay? So, not much to gain that day. Next day. 9 o'clock. 9 o'clock rolls around. MACD showing a sell. We're toward the bottom of these pivots. Hall moving average is showing a sell. 200 moving average is showing a sell. My thought is that price will come down to this previous low, or right around it. MACD looks like it's leveling out a bit though, so be careful with that trade if you entered it. Looks like it wants to go into a sell. Okay, came down there to the pivot level. Alright, came down to the previous low. So, would have been a good one. Even went below that. Then price, hold on. You had an opportunity for a second entry on this one. Right here you've got MACD. Okay, so now we're below the pivots. I think that it's, a lot of the time when that happens earlier in the day, like I said, it's going to come back up and at least enter here, if not touch here. Okay? MACD is showing a buy. We have the cross to the upside. Beautiful. Okay, we're above the Hall moving average. Okay, it hit this pivot now. So it, okay, and then it broke the pivot. So I would stay in it a little longer. Oh, we have a little bit of a pin bar. It's chilling. What's it going to do? Oh, and it comes back down a bit. MACD showing a bit of a sell. Okay, and then it went back up. So you had multiple opportunities to take profit on that one. It came and it hit that previous resistance level 2 more times. Okay, so 8:30, 9 o'clock. Okay, showing a sell on the MACD. We're showing a sell on the Hall moving average. We're toward the top of the mid pivots there. Okay, I think price will come down possibly to that 200 moving average, or maybe even to the bottom of these pivots. My computer's going to die, so give me just a minute here. Okay, just came into the office because I was chilling in a chair. There we go. Computer's plugged in. Am I still recording? Yes, good. Okay, so thought is that price is going to come down to here, possibly here. I would stick right there because look at how strong that support level is, so just above. There we go. Beautiful. Came right down to it. Oh, came down to the pivot. Broke the pivot. May continue its downtrend then. Might not. I don't know. Yep, look at that. Oh yeah, it broke right out. When it broke out at 12:30 there, and then came back above, you might have an opportunity for a buy there. Yeah, look at that. Came right back down to that hole, retraced down, and then it headed up. All the way up to that pivot again. See? It's beautiful using those pivot levels. Absolutely beautiful. If you get the timing right, like I said, around 9, check the indices out. Alright. MACD doesn't really know what it's doing here. It is showing a sell, but it's also showing that it kind of wants to maybe head to the upside. This is showing a sell. This is showing a sell. We're toward the top of the pivot, so may actually go into a sell. MACD, kind of heading up, and down. Okay. Oh, and then broke. Okay, since it broke that level, I would not even be entering that trade right now. Okay? Look at that. Shot way up. Here we go. We're outside of those pivots. So you've got that entry that you can get in on. It's only 9:45, 9:55. Yep. I would enter a sell at this point. Okay? Look at how high up that MACD is. Look at how far price spiked during market open there. During indices open. Look at, oh, dang, yeah, that was a beauty. Beauty right there. I definitely would have exited the trade when it hit to here. Because look at that previous level of support. Let's see what it does, if it goes any lower. Nope, then it just kind of chilled. So, yep, you would have wanted to get out of that when it came down to the previous support level. Very important to just take your profits. Alright, 9 o'clock, showing a sell. A sell, we're kind of down toward the bottom of the pivots though. MACD doesn't really know what it's doing. It's kind of showing a buy, kind of not. We're up to the whole moving average. It seems to be pretty strong. It crossed below that 200. It could very well head into a deep sell. If there was a really low risk spread, I may have grabbed a sell here. But let's see what happens. Broke that. Came up to the 200. This is showing a buy. But then we have a pin bar down. Look at that. Look at that beautiful pin bar. Do you think price will go down? No, maybe not. It's kind of just chilling within those levels. Can't quite make up its mind. Oh, yeah. Looks like a sell was pretty good at the beginning of the day. You wouldn't have gained a whole lot, but it did come down to the pivot level, that top pivot level. There's still a little more time in the day. Oh, whoa, there you go. Now she broke all the way down. Okay, so pretty beautiful trade. Anyways, there's a few setups for you guys. That's what I like to look at. If it goes against you, like let's say here at 9, you, well, I guess it's not really a great example. Let's just say you entered a sell here, okay? This would be a little bit better example for you. Price came up, hit, came back below the whole moving. Let's say you entered a sell here. what you'd want to do is if price came back up to here and then broke that pivot, exit that trade or wait until you've got an opportunity to exit, okay? You want to make sure that you set rules for yourself to exit a trade if it breaks a previous support or resistance level, if it's going against you, okay? If it's going with you, just ride it out, grab your profits. Look at how low that one went. Wow, it just continued. That was a beautiful one. You could have gained a lot on a spread for that. So anyways, that is the Pivoter Rivetor. You guys all have a great one, and I will talk to you later.